So I'm watching, these pair of immortals run around, and at one point, I don't remember when it was. I think it was when somebody was being eaten or something like that. Mm-hmm. Where I thought to myself, I wonder how they get pads for mana.
They go to a game.
No one shops at Gabe's.
This podcast is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed. Spoiler warning for all things Mermaid Saga. And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. Follow the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. Follow Daniel at DStarSick on Twitter. Ryan is at Darth Damio on the Bluebird app.
You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads.
Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for links to our Facebook group and Discord server.
Enjoy our horror gaming content on YouTube.
Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon. Finally, you can let your friends know that the Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible and all other major podcast apps. Stay scary.
Welcome to episode 40 of the Horror of Babylon, where we are discussing Mermaid Forest from 1991. I am Ryan, and with me as always is Daniel. Be loud, Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
And we have Hef again with us tonight.
How y'all doing? Good to be here.
And so we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Before we do that, so we're actually not going to jump right into it. I'm going to talk about something else. Okay.
We're going to softly jog into it.
We are fast approaching season 2 of the Horror of Babylon, and we want to hear from you. We want to know what your suggestions are in terms of content for season 2. So please let us know if there's a book or movie you really, really, really want us to cover. Then you can actually go over to the patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon, sign up for a Patreon plan, and make sure that we absolutely cover that. Because you can be the boss at Patreon. You can decide the content, depending on the tier that you subscribe to. And before we get into background on it, in terms of preparation for this podcast, is this the first time that any of us have watched any of the Mermaid Saga anime?
Yes.
It is for me.
Same. Yeah.
The vampire's a pure myth, superstition. I may be able to bring you proof that the superstition of yesterday can become the scientific reality of today.
Let's go ahead and jump into background. We are covering Mermaid Forest, or Ningyo no Mori, which is an OVA that was... Ningyo Forest. It's an OVA that was premiered in August of 1991. It adapts the Mermaid Forest story arc from the manga. It's directed by Takaya Mizutani, who is an episode director on anime such as One Pound Gospel and Sherlock Hound, and was also the director of photography on anime such as...
There's a 1 Pound Gospel anime.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing tonight.
I'm more shocked that there's a thing called Sherlock Hound. I thought Wishbone covered that.
No, it's actually Miyazaki. He directed
No
TV.
shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Hooray.
Yeah. There's also a live action adaptation of One Pound Gospel.
Here I thought that was going to be my pet project, like my dream project.
Your dream project is a live action 1 Pound Gospel.
I have an unfetish and I like to box.
That's...
That's literally the manga for Daniel. That's why Ryan made me read it.
Do you have the casting yet?
No. Because I want the actress to be Japanese, and I don't know many Japanese actresses very well.
Takaya Mizutani was also the director of photography on series such as Comic Party, Poirot, and Marple, and various Pokemon projects. This OVA was produced by Obi Planning and Pastel, who also created the Initial D anime, and it was released in...
Deja vu!
It was released in the United States by U.S. Manga Corp in 1993 with no dub, only subtitles.
I'm gonna be honest, this is like a way higher pedigree for this than I was expecting it to have.
Yeah, no, I mean, like... Well, I mean, if you like... dig into any anime, you can like
Probably find a bunch of stuff like that.
yeah, exactly. Especially since it's animation, because like somebody worked on some project, and
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so let's go ahead and jump into structure and themes. And the first thing I want to discuss with you guys is exposition. So if you've read the manga, you understand the rules of mermaid flesh and how it works. What do you guys think it would be like for somebody who hadn't read the manga, who sat down and started watching this?
I don't think they're going to get even close to the same amount of enjoyment out of it. I think they tried their best, to explain what was going on and tell you who Mana is and everything, but I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and this is after I watched the wrong Mermaid Saga first, and I'm sitting there going, why would you start with this one? That was my first question.
Yeah, there are 2 OVAs and then 1 anime series, 1991, 1993, and 2003, and so this was the first thing produced. I think this is one of the better story. I mean, they're all good.
I think it's a great story. It just seems like a weird one to start with when you're skipping over like character origin stories and you have to try to splash them in.
Yeah.
And you don't know who these 2 characters are, so you got to try to splash some of that in.
They do give you a little bit of Yuta's origin story and a little bit of exposition on how mermaid flesh works, but it's not really till the second half of the film.
Yeah. I think that if you went into this not knowing anything about it, you probably won't enjoy it very much.
I kind of have a possible reason for that.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times OVAs they're less continuity driven and more almost advertisement driven. One of the big things OVAs are made for isn't so much to actually add additional content to the series. It's actually a form of promotion for Japanese animations.
They're often released with manga volumes.
Do they do that over here in the West, or is that like a Japanese thing?
No.
Okay, so that makes sense in like a cultural context, but like over here,
it gets lost. Like,
a lot of times when I'm looking up OVAs, it's like this OVA was bundled with volume 33 of the manga.
It'd be like selling you Batman v Superman with the Dark Knight Returns or something.
Yeah, culturally, they assumed most viewers would have a familiarity with the manga. But I do think it is a legitimate criticism to say.
My experience with OVAs is like desperately looking for anime to watch as a kid in a Blockbuster and getting random nonsense most of the time.
Oh yes,
a lot of them are nonsense.
Yeah.
You remember that? You got it was called Wild Cards.
Yeah.
You got it for like free if you bought a manga or something like that.
I got it at Walden's.
Yeah.
It was a VHS tape.
Yeah.
It was a 2-episode OVA about these. It was like a magical girl anime where there was a spades, a heart, a clubs, and it was.
I do love how we have this playing right now, so we can watch the scenes.
Yeah, it's on.
Watching the dog eat the poison is great.
Oh,
blood.
No, no,
lick it up,
don't lick up the blood. I don't know.
Shiro, no.
No, Shiro is.
But that feels very much like what happened with this one. Is they took a story that was probably one of the. It required less exposition because most of the story is happening amongst all the other people rather than Mana and Yuta.
Yeah, they're...
So it's like it's more just peppered in, and they're just kind of... And then as the OVA goes, their characters become more ingrained with the actual plot. So it's... Yeah, I could see it as being a good, like, publicity kind of episode for people that maybe are not completely pulled in yet, and they just kind of need a little bit extra of a reason.
And then talking about the structure of the story itself, it actually does a little bit of a reverse. In the manga, you meet Toa and Sawa, and you kind of sit with their story for a bit before you get their background. This OVA actually gives you their origin first.
Yeah.
So you know more about them than you do about Yuta and Mana as the story progresses. Do you think that like...
I think that's the way to go if you're going to adapt this, not knowing if somebody knows the story or not.
Also, keep in mind, like, what I said is completely, like, I don't know that based on fact.
Yeah.
Like, that's not... I just took it that way when I watched it because I feel like a lot of OVAs are like... Most of them are like that.
Yeah.
So, proof that's what they did, but it makes sense that they would have.
And not this one, but a lot of OVAs are supplemental material, like bonus episodes, epilogues, prologues. It's like, oh, this is a chapter of the manga that never got animated. Let's add that in. And
see, I would love that. I want a chapter of Mermaid Saga I haven't seen.
yeah, talking a little bit about themes, I feel like the themes are pretty true to the original manga.
Yeah.
Obviously, immortality is a big theme, and this one is also kind of a revenge story, which I always forget until the end.
Yeah. You made me immortal. Now you either become immortal or die.
I read the manga 3 times, and I watched this anime, and then I watched the series, which also adapts the story, and I still always forget. Like, oh no, she wants to. Oh no, she tries to make her sister eat it.
It's one of the reasons I actually really. It's just one of my favorite ones. Because she basically has her life robbed from her. Mm-hmm. She's locked in a basement. Her sister gets to go have children and live a decent life. Mm-hmm. And yeah, she didn't die from whatever sickness she had, but she got locked in a basement for decades.
And she has to suffer through the pain of the arm because the arm pains her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she just was like, try living through what I've lived through. So
I watched that scene. I thought that cat jumped off the fucking cliff.
I know. I thought it was going to
like,
jump
oh,
off
God.
too.
that cat is so fucking cute.
I know. I absolutely love it.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
They're coming to get you, Barbara. Talking about characters, of course, we're going to start with our protagonist, Yuta. What did you guys think of that first scene that they added to this OVA?
It was okay, I guess. It established he was immortal for people who didn't know what was going on.
That's basically what it's for. It's just to show you he's immortal.
It's not very deep, but it's...
I thought that he actually looked kind of different than he does throughout the rest of it.
No,
I think that has a lot to do with the cultural deal. Like, back during those times or whatever like that, he was more traveling or whatever like that, whereas in this time frame, he's much more outdoorsy, working... like outdoor jobs, like construction and stuff like that. So it's a tan rather than it is I don't know, an inflection of skin.
I really like this soldier shooting him and then coming back for the body and he's just gone.
Yeah.
Where did he go?
Jerry! I told you! You gotta stop doing this shit!
A thought that I had while watching this, it kind of made me think about it in the manga, is like, he does a lot of fighting, but you would think that, like, if you were immortal and you were living in Japan, wandering Japan, like, maybe you would, like, learn some martial arts, or, like, learn to use a weapon, or something. Like, not that he's a pushover, like, he's a tough guy, but...
He kind of... He Deadpools it where he relies on his immortality to win fights.
That's where I'm kind of thinking. Like, what's the need to defend yourself if you're just going to survive?
Well, I just wouldn't get hurt that often.
It hurts.
I'm
like,
not arguing.
I think
with that.
Plus, it would probably be mentally a positive thing for him if he learned, some meditation along with the karate.
I'm also kind of like, how often... He's been alive for 500 years. How often does this actually happen that he has to, like, keep himself alive?
It happens at least once a chapter.
Yeah, but that's all between, like, when he meets, like,
Mana.
If you segregate it to, like, the times before that, that's only technically twice in like 500 years.
In the chapter, like the Fighting Fish Village, when he meets Oren, he says to her that I've already died like 3 times. So I don't know how long he's been alive at that point, but
I also assumed he was murdered. Not that he didn't just like
he said
Cliff,
what he said he died in a battle
and
he drowned. I can't remember what the other one was.
Right. So again, I feel like before he, to be fair,
I got hit with a really big stick.
He should really be thinking maybe otherwise, because once he met Mana, he's been running into more crazy shit than usual. So I don't know if that's
ever since I ran into you, I run into Mermaid Forest at least once a week.
He needs a psych check, not a body check.
So that's another thing I wanted. That's another thing I wanted to bring up. So after he meets Mana, it feels like he keeps running into immortals and mermaids more frequently, but we actually don't know what the time period between these chapters and episodes are. I mean, it could potentially be years or even decades between these stories.
Right.
And
I would really like a chapter where they run into something that's not a mermaid and he has no idea how to deal with it, like a vampire.
Like a vampire, you're like, what the fuck?
Oh, okay.
That's what we're missing.
You got immortality in a completely different way. I don't know how to deal with this.
And the vampire cuts his head off and it's over.
Vampire Saga.
Let's talk about Mana a little bit. I love Mermaid's Forest. It's one of my favorite stories, but it was a little bit of a weird choice because it doesn't feature Mana a whole lot, and she's one of the two main protagonists.
Get to see her get strangled. That's kind of fun.
Okay. I don't have anything to say to that.
I do, but I'm just going to restrain myself.
You just
Instead of
strangle
me
that thought.
restraining her.
What's your opinion of leather, Daniel? Are you pro or against?
Clive Barker is one of my favorite horror authors. That should tell you all you need to know.
But
I
Daniel,
started
that's the
reading-
elfin lead of horror novels.
I stared reading Stephen King this year, my guy.
Okay, well,
Clive Barker means nothing to me.
he's very known for putting his villains in like a lot of leather and like torture devices. Pain and pleasure being intermingled.
So you're pro.
Yes.
Pain.
Well,
I can't kill. You're pro pain.
Yeah. Well, I'm pro leather.
Okay.
What's the matter, Dale? You look awfully sad for
I'm
somebody
thinking of
who's in a
upgrading
propane
from the
dealership.
denim jacket to a leather one. So.
But then you won't be Randall Flagg.
Yeah, but I'm gonna get a pink leather jacket. So
You should cosplay as Randall Flagg at DualCon.
I was going to.
But you need to
Sure.
do all the denim stuff, but then have a Horror of Babylon shirt underneath.
Yeah, I'll have the Horror of Babylon shirt, and I'll have all my pins.
Yes.
And I'm gonna grow out a mullet.
And
Yeah,
it's February.
I also grow hair super quick. I have to get my hair cut like twice a
That
month.
is an odd skill, but thank you for letting me know that. I grow hair exceptionally quick.
So, do you have any thoughts on Mana? In this?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So
I like green Mana. I like white Mana.
I tried. I don't
like tapping Mana.
See, like that's my thing. Like I. Ooh. I love you for that joke.
Thank you.
I watched this as totally a promotion. Mana was used, I wouldn't say effectively. Disappointed with this interpretation with Mana. But again, I tried to watch it, and maybe that's just me. I tried to watch it as something that was like kind of being like, here's some extra content for you. Haven't seen this yet.
Yep, I think I was a little bit too, but it's also like it's not a Mana-centric story,
No.
so
There's some high points in this one.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I do appreciate they didn't like restrict the gore.
This story is fine if you know like the story,
Unlike
the rest of
other
it in the larger
adaptations.
context, because you get more Mana. But if this is like your first Mermaid saga, like why would you give a fuck about Mana? Because she's barely in it.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
She likes cats, which is kind of cool. But
Yeah, I mean, I like cats, so she and I got that.
Yeah.
All right, what about Sawa and Towa? The sisters, the twin sisters.
I can never remember which one's which.
I can never remember. I can never like it has like the Japanese laugh. Nothing against.
Well, which Japanese laugh?
It's like
Because there's a bunch of them.
mockingly like ho, ho, ho,
That one, yeah, okay.
like that one.
She does a really good. I love this voice actress's laugh.
There's this story that Michael Scott tells in The Office about twins, and I always picture these two. He's talking about Packer, and he's like, so Packer and I were out drinking, and we met these two twins, and Packer tells him that we're brothers, and one thing leads to another, and we end up taking them back to our hotel, and Packer screws them both. And I picture these two.
I think this girl was fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like, I know she's old on the inside, but still.
No. Did the monster hand wouldn't deter you?
No.
Don't let a
That
monster
would-
hand be a deal breaker?
No, I let her choke me.
Would you give her your arm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need it.
So my question is, like, how did she think that the transplant was... Because, like, her thing was, when she discovered Mana was immortal, was like, okay, switch my head with hers. Like, but when you cut off the head, they're dead.
Maybe she thought if we do it fast enough.
And then, like, fucking Dr. Sheena, he has the scalpel and he's about to do it. I'm like, what are you about to do? Like, what?
I feel like that's like I don't know. I read that as more of like
Desperation.
no, yeah. There's desperation in it, but I also feel like it's kind of I don't know how much they knew of the mermaid legend. Like just because we know it doesn't mean that the characters do.
Yeah, because of a lack of exposition.
Right? Yeah. Like, well, this is what like a 30-minute thing, maybe.
55, actually.
Is it really?
55 minutes,
God,
16 seconds.
That's so much longer than I
Yeah,
thought
it didn't
was.
feel that long.
No, it's quick. Like,
It's allowed. Okay, this is briskly paced. I'll give it that.
yeah, no. Rumiko Takahashi doesn't mess around with her shit. I was like, let's go. All right, and then our last character is Dr. Sheena, the most tragic of figures. Have you ever loved a woman so much that you would put up with the amount of shit that this guy does, and then at the end of all of it, run into a burning fire and just decide to die.
Ryan, do you remember my marriage?
Yeah, your marriage was a burning fire.
I ran into that fire.
I've never been known to run into a burning fire. I like my women a little fiery.
Yeah.
I like me a fiery woman.
Dan, I'm a hopeless romantic. I would totally do this exact kind of nonsense.
Here's what I want to ask. So you just answered. Is this guy the ultimate romantic, or is he a sick fuck?
I think he's a sad fuck.
Yeah, he is a sad fuck. I'll give you that.
He's a sad fuck.
He's a little bit of a cuck, because I'm not sure he even got to smash after all of this.
You can just imagine her wrapping that monster arm around him.
Take the bandage off, baby.
Secret thing happened actually is like he actually fucked the sister, hoping it was her, like thinking it was her. That's like how he got his rocks
like
off.
before she aged. Yeah.
That's like his rocks off. Like I just got his. He just seemed like sad to me rather than sad.
Oh, he's super sad. Like you
I have to keep chopping arms off with the woman I love.
And it's to dead bodies, but I mean it's still not.
I mean, you've got to steal the body. And
you have to steal a body and deface the body.
Habitualization is a scary ass thing.
Or I'm sorry, de-arm the body.
But I mean, just what's she wearing? Is this a yukata kimono?
Yukata is a summer kimono. They're looser and they have less fabric.
So this is a kimono. Yeah. So look at this kimono. It's fucking sexy as shit.
Yeah.
I'd chop an arm off for this.
I know. They're all cute. She, I mean, we were talking a couple weeks ago about how Junji Ito draws his women and they're beautiful.
They're so pretty.
Rumiko Hakatashi does too, but in a very different
way,
yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
they're more naturally pretty than they are like
haunting pretty.
Like hauntingly pretty. Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it.
Yeah. I still have a super big crush on Kyoko Tanashi, but that's a whole nother story.
I'll kill you all! I'll drive you crazy, and I'll kill you all! I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
Scary shit. Not super scary, but there are a lot of creepy things.
Yeah.
One, a little higher on the blood scale than I may have guessed, which it is a violent manga. I mean, violent for what it is. Yeah. So I was glad to see them not shying away from the violence and the gore in this adaptation, which unfortunately I can't say about other adaptations that we're going to discuss later.
Yeah.
Preview of my Koontz.
Glow. We can laugh about that later.
Oh, I hated it.
I do really appreciate all the blood that's in this, but you know me, I like gory shit.
Yeah.
One of the scariest things to me, and this is just because of, like, video games I play and books I read, is, like, hidden Japanese shrines. Like, we have a hidden shrine where we keep a mermaid's body that we make our medicine from. I'm like, oh, that's spooky as shit.
I just want one of those water thingies that, like, conk, and then comes back up. I just want one of those.
I love the image both from the anime and from the manga of the mermaid's body just like laying across those posts that are stuck into the wall.
Yeah.
It's just super haunting image. I absolutely love it. Some other like standout parts of this OVA that I really like the scene with where the dog licks up the blood and that her hair turns white. I thought that was very haunting. I love the music there.
Yeah.
When Yuta is murdered by the dog, and then she's out the next morning walking with one of the sisters, and she notices that all that blood on the ground from where Yuta was killed the night before, and just there's no acknowledgement of. She's just like, I wonder what that is.
Fun.
It's your fucking boyfriend's blood all over the place.
The next scene, she's feeding squirrels.
Yeah.
Happily. Chiro the pupper.
Chiro the pupper from hell. Sorry, is he the gatekeeper or the keymaster? Is he Rick Moranis or...
is it a boy or a girl? Because that answers your question.
Shiro is normally a male name, but doesn't mean it couldn't be.
Okay, so that's the keymaster, right?
Yeah, Rick Moranis.
Yeah. So there we go. Ghostbusters.
Ghost. Okay.
I still haven't watched the new Ghostbusters.
I love it, but I have a very, very controversial opinion on it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. That I thought the worst parts were the parts with Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I still need to watch it. I'll watch it soon.
It's good. I like it a lot. Have you seen the new Ghostbusters?
I have.
Yeah. What did you think?
The face you made. I wish I...
You're not going to offend me if you didn't like it.
It's what I would preface it by saying it. I think the first Ghostbusters is only okay.
Get out.
Like, it's one of those movies, like, I watched it. I watched it so much when I was younger.
That's my opinion of Back to the Future, so.
Yeah.
Get out. Get out.
It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
I had nothing against it.
Okay.
It's a solid C+.
All right. That's cool.
I can't wait.
I can actually feel, like, the heat rising in the room.
I can't wait for the clip of that.
Okay.
I mean, it's
You
not.
can actually just hear.
I'll change my ringtone.
I'm more upset that you don't consider the original a sacred cow than you not liking the new one. That's all.
Kiss me, fat boy.
Kiss me, fat boy.
Did Toa totally like cop a feel on Mana?
Yes.
Like, that's all I had.
Yeah, no, she molested. She molested. That was
There was intent behind it.
I don't remember that in the manga.
I didn't remember it either, but I was like,
it does. I don't think it happens in the manga.
Yeah.
but I've
It's
been
an
wrong before.
advertisement. They're trying to entice you.
You know what we need in this adaptation? We need a little molestation.
we need to creep you out just a little more.
I think she should have used the big hand a little bit more.
The big hand.
When Hank goes to the sports psychiatrist, he's like, "I will not take pills, and you cannot molest me."
Well, I can't fix you without giving you medication or molestation, but it won't be easy.
I can't believe you had beer at your age. I didn't even like it. Now you're
just
trying to make me mad.
I can't wait for our Peak of the Hill podcast.
So we've got
He's got
these are all the side projects. We're going to do the King of the Hill rewatch podcast. We're going to do the Game of Thrones versus Lord of the Rings podcast. We're going to do the Shrek rewatch podcast. That was Matt's idea.
I like that one.
And then the Asian Saga podcast. I think
Are we including the Puss
Puss in Boots. Yeah, I mean that's why, because there's a new Puss in Boots movie.
That's what triggers.
That's what brought it up.
Yeah. Christ.
God, there's not enough hours in the day.
Oh my God, are you Stephen King? No, I'm Dean Koontz. Oh.
Kings and Koontzes have. What is your king?
It's a singular OVA that I think, for the time, I feel like there's a lot of work that went into it. Like, the animation is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
For what I would assume, again, to me, like, this always almost seemed like an advertisement.
For
like
1991, yeah.
For just, getting more people to read manga and stuff like that. So, to me, this feels like a lot of effort went into it. It felt like somebody really tried their best to be like, you have 1 hour to try to sell me on this manga. And I think they really did. I think this succeeds in that. It encompasses all the really good, really high points of what the manga is about. I don't necessarily think it did the story a fantastic amount of justice, but you only have, again, an hour to like kind of crunch it in there and be like, what's the one that's most accessible? It's this one.
Okay.
So I don't know, I'd give it a solid 8, honestly. Like, just because I could see they tried.
Thank you for your scale on 1 to 10 rating, but what's your king?
Fuck. Dog attack.
It was pretty sweet. Okay, Daniel, what's your king?
Toa copping a fill. I refuse to apologize or explain myself.
The chicken is about to get murdered.
So my king is just like the aesthetic feel of the whole thing, the animation, the violence, the music. Like this, for me, like peak anime is like mid 90s, like Yu Yu Hakusho, Gundam Wing, Outlaw Star. Like this is my era. This is my anime. So this is just feels.
This ain't your My Hero Academia.
I like My Hero. No shade to My Hero, but it's not. That's not what I grew up with. It's not what I think about when I come to anime.
You don't. This just has a style to it that's just like, this is anime.
Yeah, this is
newer. A lot of newer animes don't, to me, look like anime.
Yeah, and this is completely hand drawn. There's no computer graphics in this. Like I absolutely love it, and it's so unapologetic with the gore and the blood and the violence and
the titties.
Yeah, and the titties. And then Hef, your Koontz, your Dean, Mr. Dean, your Dean of Coontsy Affairs.
Again, like I think they tried with this one, but I wish they would have picked another story to try to like encapsulate, because I feel like this one has been overdone.
They've done it twice.
They've done it twice, but
this was the first one.
I would have preferred that they gave us like something entirely new.
Like an original story instead of an adaptation.
Yeah, like I think adapting a story that was already kind of like there was kind of a weakness for this, because they had to summarize what I would consider to be one of the better stories from the manga, and there's just some take back from that. So I would have preferred, if they were going to do it this way, I would have preferred one that like was an actual original video animation and not a short, not a compressed version of what we got in the manga.
Yeah, it's not unusual for manga artists to actually write scripts for OVAs and for movies. Like Akira Toriyama has done it, Eiichiro Oda has done it, I think Masashi Kishimoto has done it. I mean, she may not have had time to do that, or maybe nobody had that idea, but for her to write like an OVA, an original story of Yuta and Mana, and then produce that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So that's my Koontz, is I wish they would have picked a new story instead of this one.
Okay. Daniel?
My Koontz is similar. I think that this is a weird place to start if you're trying to sell someone on a Mermaid Saga. You don't get a lot of mana. You don't really get a lot of anyone's origins except in these like little bits and pieces more than halfway through the movie.
For me, I think that the exposition piece could have been solved with just like a quick little, instead of like that added scene with him getting shot by the soldiers, just like a quick little prologue, like almost like a storybook prologue of like Yuta doing a narration, just kind of explaining, you know, I was a fisherman and my friend brought me this flesh of a mermaid, and now I ate it and now I'm immortal, and I roamed.
Yeah, I would have moved it to the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, and and I met this girl named Mana, and it took me 500 years to find another person like me, and now she and I travel the country of Japan looking for a mermaid to take away our curse, and this is one of our stories. I mean, maybe that would have been cheesy, but
man, the poor Virtua Fighter anime did a better job of introducing things.
I love that.
I love the dub. The series is not very good, but that dub is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You guys want a big whack?
Okay.
I want to watch the Virtua Fighter.
It's really good.
The dub,
I know.
The dub is spectacular.
It's great.
It's written like it's not Yu Yu Hakusho good, but it's pretty close.
I don't even care for Virtua Fighter. I'm more of a Street Fighter guy.
I don't think I've ever played any of the games.
The games are irrelevant, but the series and the dub is worth watching.
I'm more of a Guilty Gear guy.
I think he has it digitally.
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah.
I found one or two of the season 2
episodes.
Yeah. Not all of them. Like that's. All right, so let's move on to ranking. I'll go ahead and go first. I'm actually going to put this as kind of high, and I did really like this. No, it's not perfect. I'm going to put it kind of up there, but again, that's more of like, I really don't like a lot of the stuff we watched. And again, this is more of a personal thing for me. Like, this is my era of anime. I just really like all of this aesthetically. So it is going to be... It's going to be my new number 6. Above Beast and Below the Mist.
Idris Elba?
Yeah. We just dropped an
I fucking went and watched that movie this week.
We just dropped an episode on it like yesterday.
I love The Ghost in the Darkness, and this movie...
I brought that up during that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just like, oh my god, it's a movie about lion attacks. I must go watch this.
You can listen to our episode on it on the way home.
Nice. I made Jackie go see it with me. I'm like, look, lion-eating movie. I want to go see the lion-eating movie.
And we did a reaction video to Lion Mall like before this.
And we're going to do a bonus episode on Roar sometime soon. All right, who's next? Hef, you're next. Your list is in front of you.
It goes below Gotham by Gaslight and above X.
Okay, so that means it's your number 5. Boom.
Number 5 is all
I still maintain the reason I didn't like X was not its fault.
Yeah, I mean, my lists are based on my enjoyment, not based on the quality of the movies. Yeah. And X is not a movie of poor quality. It's just not my kind of horror movie.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. Daniel, your list is in front of you. With X considerably higher on.
Dang. Let's see here.
We will be doing a bonus episode on Pearl.
I'm going to put it below Gotham by Gaslight, above Mist 2017.
That's your number 11. Oh, yeah.
Didn't quite make the top 10.
No, that's all right. No worries. Okay, so moving on to homework. What do you guys think Yuta's laundry routine was like? Like, how do you get all those fucking blood stains?
Okay, so
shirts.
I think he robbed dead homeless people and took their clothes.
Mine's similar. I think he just broke into like a Gabe's one day or whatever the Japanese equivalent is, and took like
Gabriel Brothers.
and just took like and he just
Gabe senpai.
He just stole like 12 of the same outfit and he just sprinkles them through Japan as he's traveling, and he picks them up whenever he gets fucked up. And changes his clothes. He has like little storage lockers throughout Japan.
I had a thought when I was reading these books that
well, I wonder if they shop at Gabe's.
I don't know what the Japanese equivalent is.
They probably don't have one.
They have to have a clothing store.
Not a trash one. Sorry, go ahead.
There's poor people in Japan.
There's no way you're going to be able to keep this in the episode. But I had a thought throughout the whole thing.
We're keeping it.
Like, I thought to myself. So I'm watching, these pair of immortals run around, and at one point, I don't remember when it was. I think it was when somebody was being eaten or something like that. Mm-hmm. Where I thought to myself, I wonder how they get pads for mana.
They go to a game.
And that's what proceeded to go with the rest of the question. It's like, well, maybe they pick up some shirts and shit there.
They go to a CVS and they're just like,
because she's a woman, she has womanly needs, so.
I don't know how.
Surely that comes up.
I don't know how immortal bodies work.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a question that didn't need asking ever, but it popped into my head.
Do vampires have periods? Do they consider that like getting it off the tap?
Do they run? Does their blood run? Like, how's that work?
I don't know.
Either way, you see what the ridiculousness of my thought. Like, he's just in there being like, I wonder how periods work if you're immortal.
Ours is probably a little bit more fishy.
Again, I'm a dude. I'm not even going to try to tell you that I have any sort of idea of what that would be like. So,
right.
It was just something I randomly thought of.
Right. Where does Mana get her pads?
From Gabe's.
She rolls up the white t-shirts.
The next time I go to Gabe's, I'll be looking for pads.
No, she just rolls.
I don't know if they're there.
She just takes Yuta's torn up t-shirts and uses pieces.
Oh no!
I mean, they're already all bloodied.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Question for the listeners:
what is the Japan equivalent of Gabe?
What story from Mermaid Saga do you think should be adapted as its own standalone OVA, or do you think it should be an original story? Upcoming on the Horror of Babylon next week, we are covering the manga Domu by Katsuhiro Otomo. Yes, the same Otomo of Akira fame. Following week, we are doing the next Mermaid Saga OVA, which is Mermaid Scar. The next week, October 16th, is our next book episode where we have read and will discuss The Confederado, a Western horror tale of Mesoamerican gore by B.L. Blankenship. The following week, we will be doing our last episode on Mermaid Saga, reviewing the anime series. But thank you all for listening. Thank you, Daniel, and thank you, Hef, for recording with me tonight.
Always a pleasure.
Love you.
And stay scary, everybody. Stay tuned for our socials.
Stay scared.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. Follow Daniel at DStarSick on Twitter. Follow Ryan at Darth Daimyo on the Bluebird app. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon. And finally, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Podcast Addict, TuneIn and the iHeartRadio app. Stay scary.